And joining us today, we have Amanda from Synergy Credit Union, and Amanda is here to talk about wills. Now, first of all, Amanda, I have to say that wills is something that I don't really think about talking about with a bank, but let's talk about the importance of having one.
Yeah, so the importance of having a will is just basically to make sure that your wants and wishes are followed through with. And I think oftentimes it's a loved one that is the administrator or that executor of your estate, so to make their job a bit easier as well.
And it's not common for me to go to a financial institution to think about when it comes to having a will. So why is that important?
Yeah, so I think it's an important relationship to have the lawyer, the accountant, and the financial institution, just to see that whole picture.
And why do you think some people are hesitant? Is it there's such almost a finality to it when you start talking about wills?
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes talking about it all the time, but I think just coming down to maybe not fully understanding, and a large part of it is communication.
And so where do you even start with that sort of thing? And especially for younger people, I think younger people tend to be the ones that maybe think, I don't need to get a will right now. But from what I understand, you should really, if you have assets of any sort, be thinking about having a will at any age. So how do you even get started with that process?
Yeah, so we need to be at least the age of 18 before we can have a will. And I think nowadays most people are going to try and look to their cell phone or do a little bit of research in that sense. I think to make sure you continue to keep the professionals involved there, really make it your own. They're legal documents, so involving your lawyer and those professionals is important.
Now, if you don't maybe necessarily use Synergy for your financial institution, are you still welcome to come in and find out which people to talk to there if you choose to?
Yeah, we are. Whether you're a member of the credit union or not, all are welcome. We do have to ask a few more questions to get to get an understanding of everything, of course, but more than welcome.
Okay, and what are some of the key things you need to remember if you want to come in and you are looking at setting up a will?
Well, mostly, and how a will is set up is they're wanting to know who the administrator or who an executor of your will is. So knowing and having an understanding of what that looks like, and then also the distribution of your estate and who is going to be receiving the distribution, so your beneficiaries.
Right. Now, what happens if you don't have a will? From things that I've read, it can really get messy, even in the easiest of cases. Is that correct?
Yes and no. I think something to keep in mind is that no two estates are ever the same, no two people are ever the same. However, if we are to die without a will, it's called dying intestate, and oftentimes what is needed is a court process called letters of administration, simply just to say who the administrator is to move forward with the estate.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amanda. And for more information, they can come and visit you or anybody at Synergy, and we will be back next hour with more information on wills. And Amanda is back with us this hour from Synergy Credit Union, and we're talking about wills and the importance of them. And Amanda, let's go and talk about the power of attorney now. We were talking a little bit last hour about wills and the importance of them, and what exactly is the role of somebody who has the power of attorney?
So a power of attorney, the best way I like to explain it, and when we say attorney, we don't necessarily mean your lawyer. It can be a family or friend. They're the person that is able to sign and act on your behalf. So when we think about all the places where we sign our name, that's at our financial institution, Revenue Canada, land titles, all those little things in between.
So what is the benefit of having one? And I guess how soon should you make sure that you have somebody who has power of attorney?
Yeah, and so I think the power of attorney, and the main thing to remember about it is that it's for only while we're still alive.
Right.
And so if I am to become physically or mentally incapable, the province doesn't just say, okay, your spouse or your next of kin are able to stand in. It can additionally be a court process as well. So having that legal document is really good to have if and when something should happen.
Okay, and you were talking in regards to wills about a living will. What exactly is a living will? I don't quite know if people get the concept of that.
Yeah, and so the living will, well, our last will and testament is for when the death occurs, power of attorney for physically, mentally. Living will is really just in regards to your medical wishes. And so appointing a person, an agent, or a proxy they're referred to in that document to make those medical decisions for you when you're no longer able to. So really keeping it general, just allowing for our health to change and for medicine to change.
So is there a better time when you recommend that you have a living will set up, or is it something you should do at the same time as your actual last will and testament?
So normally we do talk about the 3 documents, the will, the power of attorney, and the living will around the same time. But really it can be done at any time. I think the sooner the better, just to make some decisions when I'm of full mind and capacity is definitely a lot easier than if I have maybe a health concern or something else going on at the same time.
Now, is this something, I know people often say it's more important, say if you own a home, to do this. Does it matter if you're a homeowner or not, if you want to make sure that all of your orders are in place, or does it matter on how many, what your assets are? Often people say, they will say, oh, well, I don't have much, so I don't really need a will. Is it still important?
Definitely. I think, and I kind of say that whether you have $1 or a couple $1 million, it is important to have. For lots of families, I see lots of couples that have children, and so wanting to make sure that they're taken care of.
Okay, and again, Amanda, if people are looking for information on any of this, whether it be a living will or the last will or anything to do with this, should they call and make an appointment at Synergy? Can they just show up? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, show up, call. We have lots of information on our internet, on the website as well too. So whichever works best.
All right. Well, thank you, Amanda, for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks, Stacey.